Welcome, ghouls, to today's episode of Mental Health is Horrifying. I'm your horror Barbie host of darkness, Candace Green, psychotherapist and all-around spooky bitch, podcasting from my bat-filled cave in Toronto, Canada. Firstly, I am so honored to let you know that Mental Health is Horrifying has been nominated for 5 Canadian Podcast Awards. Outstanding Health and Fitness Series, Outstanding Television and Film Series, Outstanding Education Series, Outstanding Artwork for a Series, and the People's Choice Award. The People's Choice Award is the only award that members of the public can vote on, and if you love this show, I would be eternally grateful beyond the depths of my bat-filled heart to receive your vote. Voting is easy and it literally takes 5 seconds. I've put the voting link in the show notes, and all you have to do is click the link, click on People's Choice, then scroll down to where you see Mental Health is Horrifying and click vote. I also wanted to say thank you for everyone who has already voted, who has been sharing about this and supporting me. It truly means so much to me, and please know that I see all your comments and your little likes, and it fills me up with so much joy. I make this show and send it out into the universe, and yeah, there are stats I can look at, but sometimes it's hard to know how it's landing or if people are really liking it. So to know that you do and that you want to support it, it means the world to me, and I thank you. Voting is open until November 22nd. Which brings me to my second point. My asking you to vote for me for People's Choice in the Canadian Podcast Awards is an example of narcissism, which is the fulfillment of self-needs in an attempt to achieve deeper levels of self-actualization and cohesion. Narcissism isn't necessarily a dirty word, despite what pop psychology would have you believe. It exists on a spectrum, ranging from healthy developmental narcissism to harmful, unbridled, let's create a monster in my image narcissism. The latter is definitely the case for Victor Frankenstein, as is beautifully, tragically, horrifyingly portrayed in Guillermo del Toro's 2025 movie, Frankenstein. Guys, I'm a sensitive angel, but this movie completely ruined my life, so get ready for some fun. Okay, so let's get right into it. Let's check out Frankenstein and its exploration of narcissism.
My maker told his tale, and I will tell you mine. I remember pieces, memories of different men. And I saw it, your name. Victor Frankenstein. To award me love, then I will indulge in rage. Now, run.
In 1857, a Royal Danish Navy expedition ship becomes trapped in ice. After bringing aboard Victor Frankenstein, who is badly injured, the crew is attacked by a creature who demands Victor surrender. Victor explains to the captain that he is the creature's creator and recounts the events that led to its creation. And it goes something like this. Victor's mother died giving birth to his younger brother William, who became the favorite of their aristocratic father, a renowned physician who was cruel and abusive to him. Grieving his mother and hardened by his family's abuse, Victor grows into a brilliant, arrogant surgeon and becomes obsessed with curing death through science. Arms merchant Heinrich Harlander offers Victor unlimited funding to continue carrying out his experiments to cure death. Victor harvests body parts from hanged criminals and soldiers who have been killed, thus fashioning a large creature to reanimate. And he's alive! He's alive! Victor is both fascinated by and terrified of the creature, so he chains him up in a yucky old basement. Instead of nurturing and teaching him stuff, Victor is cruel and punishing to the creature, and it turns out that this doesn't help the creature to learn anything at all. The only person who shows the creature kindness is Elizabeth, Victor's brother's fiancée, and we see the creature's innate humanity and capacity for love through their beautiful connection, which is promptly snatched away when Victor decides to burn his castle down with the creature inside because he thinks he's too stupid and a scientific failure. While Victor thinks the creature is dead, the creature manages to free himself and has ventured out into the world to try and understand what the hell is going on. In his attempts to find love and belonging, however, he experiences a pattern. Every time he finds love and kindness, it is brutally taken away from him due to his appearance. He makes friends with a deer, a kind elderly gentleman, Elizabeth, all of them, brutally murdered. He is sad and alone forever. In the present, while having realized his misdeeds through the creature's story, Victor apologizes to him for his abuse. The creature somehow forgives him, and he watches his surrogate father die. The creature then watches the ship depart, tormented with the knowledge that he cannot die and will spend eternity forever alone. Can I send my therapy bills to Guillermo del Toro? Although Mary Shelley's book, Frankenstein, has been remade countless times over the years, I really can't think of a better director for the story than the great Guillermo del Toro. This man loves monsters and has dedicated his life to them. I went to his exhibit at the AGO called At Home with Monsters, where it showcased his work, love of monsters, and how he literally adorns his home with them because he loves them so much. His movies are a feast, all of them. Pan's Labyrinth, Crimson Peak, The Shape of Water, which also ruined my life because it was so sad and beautiful, The Devil's Backbone, and you're really in for a treat with how he brings stories to life with his stunningly beautiful sets, costumes, makeup, like Jacob Elordi's, which took 11 hours, and the overall gothic feeling that he does so well. Of course, I also love his movies because of all the Canadian connections. Del Toro has a home in Toronto and loves this city, and you can see some Toronto filming locations that you might recognize in the movie, including the University of Toronto and shots of the Etobicoke waterfront, which were used to film the ship in the movie's farthest north location. Mary Shelley began writing Frankenstein when she was just 18 years old, after experiencing the loss of her own mother. And talk about gothic feeling, this woman kept her late husband Percy Shelley's heart wrapped in his poetry in her writing desk until her passing, which is the correct way to honor your dead lover, by the way. Her young life was characterized by so much grief, and the writing of Frankenstein can be viewed as an exercise in grief, giving a channel to fears about death and the desire to cure us of its horrible march. Narcissism and labeling everyone a narcissist is vraiment en vogue right now. People tend to be doing it when they feel plagued by the sort of grandiose, manipulative, bulldozing me narcissists that leave a path of eye rolls and wreckage everywhere they go. There's a lot of that going on these days, but that's just one side of the spectrum of narcissism, which do be existing on a spectrum. Heinz Kohut, famed psychoanalyst best known for the development of theories about self-psychology, talked a lot about how all humans possess healthy amounts of narcissism. Kohut helped us develop a deeper understanding of what narcissism actually is, expand on its definition, and was able to help us understand it as a way that humans engage in self-love. Narcissism is about the development of the self, and this begins in early infancy. The purpose of healthy narcissistic development is to move the individual towards a cohesive sense of self, providing secure identity, values, meaning, worth, and self-actualization. The primary way that this is achieved is through what Heinz Kohut referred to as self-objects, or self-object needs. Specifically, he stressed the importance of healthy, secure relationships for promoting a person's sense of self-cohesion. In particular, dependence on others becomes really important during life transitions and traumatic experiences that can disrupt a person's healthy narcissism. If healthy narcissism on one end of the spectrum is the foundation of self-love, and that someone can love themselves while also having empathy for others, be considerate of others, and exist in a healthy human ecosystem, on the other end is the type of unhealthy narcissism that is wildly self-focused, that has very little empathy or concern for anyone else, that wants to appear as the best, smartest, or most superior person, who is envious, entitled, and power-seeking. Does that sound like anyone you know? I'm not naming names, but I'm guessing you can name a few people that fit that description. Our social media world has certainly created a ripe ground for people's originally healthy narcissism to begin moving a little further down the spectrum. All you have to do is think of the Greek myth of Narcissus, a handsome man who falls so deeply in love with his own reflection that he drowns in it. It's common for horror, gothic, and Mary Shelley diehards to rag on those who misappropriate the name Frankenstein to the monster instead of his creator, but it makes a lot of sense why people end up doing this. It is a common psychological phenomenon in narcissistic parent-child relationships that the parent is only able to see or experience their child insofar as they reflect their own narcissism or self-needs. For Victor, the creature only exists as far as he can see his own image, so it kind of makes sense that over time and through every iteration of the story of Frankenstein, that people refer to both the creator and creation as one. Although there are other shades and flavors of narcissistic presentation like covert, malignant, or communal, Victor's grandiosity is what we typically associate with extreme narcissism. Before the creature even comes to life, we get a sense of Victor's narcissism. He is arrogant when he presents to his colleagues. He is sinister and deceptive when he tries to steal his brother's fiancée, and he has very little concern for human life as he sources body parts from the downtrodden who aren't even dead yet. When the creature is assembled/born, Victor's behavior evolves into a type of parental enmeshment, where not only does he continue to display the harmful attributes of his grandiose narcissism, but he cannot see the creature as a sentient being of his own. For Victor, there is no separation between himself and the creature, so when the creature inevitably disappoints him, has needs and feelings of his own, Victor launches into a tirade of anger. This is typical for highly narcissistic personalities because when they are asked to consider the needs and feelings of others, they experience them as an affront, a massive inconvenience, and almost like it just does not compute. His cruelty escalates when the creature is born because Victor is unable to consider that maybe this sweet giant creature needs a bed, some love, human interaction maybe some warm soup and a blanket, clothes. I mean, he has no clothes. Like, yeah, Jacob Elordi is beautiful, and I'm glad for our collective thirst that he's such a cut monster, but the dude needs some clothes. Victor literally cannot fathom needs outside of his own, so he's like, yeah, I'll just chain him up in the basement. On a deeper level, the inability to tolerate the emotions or needs of others touches on the inherent vulnerability of narcissistic personality types. Victor cannot tolerate that the creature does not have an expansive vocabulary or is not yet an astrophysicist because he sees the creature as an extension of himself and cannot tolerate that he is not smart or superior. Of course, it's ridiculous because the creature is essentially a baby. Like, he was literally just born and doesn't know anything. But for a narcissist who can only experience others as an extension of themselves, or insofar as other people can be useful to them, then even a baby is something to degrade. I see narcissistic personalities like this. Imagine the tall, beautiful, ornate, gilded walls of a palace. They're impressive, but also kind of over the top. Just inside those walls is a massive barbed wire fence. It's also very tall and goes all the way around the inner perimeter of the palace walls and is rather impermeable. If you tried to climb over this fence, you'd really hurt yourself because of all the sharp metal designed to keep you out. Because inside that fencing is something the narcissist does not want you to see. And in fact, something that they don't even want themselves to see. It's a very sad little garden. Like, very, very sad. There are a few plants and some flowers, and no one has watered them in a very long time. And they're struggling to hang on, but they're doing their best. Like maybe there's one little bud with a few flower petals on it. And also there is like a lost teddy bear in this garden that's all dirty and forgotten and sad. It's very, very sad in there. It's very vulnerable and it needs love and care so badly. And this is what it's like to be a narcissist. They have built this palace with the outside walls so beautiful and audacious to distract people and themselves. And they built that barbed wire fence inside, protecting that really sad, forgotten inner garden because even they do not have the ability or tools to water the garden. It's too painful, so they do everything they can to keep themselves out. If they were able to water that garden, if someone had given them the tools to, those walls might come down. Projection is a huge part of narcissism, meaning that the narcissist cannot tolerate their own vulnerability, so they project all their shame onto others. Let me know if any of this sounds familiar. You're too sensitive. It looks like you've put on a few pounds. Have you weighed yourself recently? You're not smart enough for that. Let me do it. You're so spoiled. Yeah. The thing about narcissism is that if left unchecked, it will replicate like a virus. Victor treats the creature exactly the way his own narcissistic father treated him. Just like his father, Victor constantly reminds the creature that he is so much smarter than him and makes it very clear that he has power over him. Just like his father, he beats the creature when he displeases him, which is often. Narcissists have to feel big. They survive on feeling superior, special, and powerful. So just like his father, Victor wields his power and authority like a weapon, unleashing a monstrous cruelty onto the creature that completely devastates him, mind, body, and soul. I mean, he tries to incinerate him. There are many things that exacerbate narcissism, including having a narcissistic or emotionally immature parent, experiences that disconnect you from humanity, like power, fame, and fortune, individualistic cultures that prioritize individual over collective success and well-being, and low-key, guys, stress. Stress can really aggravate narcissism because it depletes your internal resources, making it difficult to have empathy for others or consider what others are going through. I once read this book called Snakes in Suits, and it talks about how there is a much higher concentration of psychopaths in executive positions because psychopathic traits are exactly the ones that would help someone to reach the top of a ladder. And while the book talks about psychopathy, I think it applies to narcissism too. All these traits help people get to the top of corporate ladders or government ones. The ability to exploit people, to not care about their feelings, thinking that you're special and superior, having a high degree of entitlement, and basically being able to do anything and everything to further your own interests. For Victor, his narcissism was created by his father. Victor was really let down by him. He left a hole inside of him where love should have been, so Victor filled it with the kind of grandiose narcissism that would make an excellent cover for how desperately lonely, shameful, and sad he feels. His mom died too when he was young, which isn't great either. Amidst his attempts to project all his shame onto the creature, Victor's own brother is able to see his cruelty. As Victor's brother William dies, he tells him that he was always afraid of him and that he is the real monster. Now that I have had nearly 3 weeks to collect myself since seeing this movie in the theater, I'm prepared to talk about the second half of Guillermo del Toro's Frankenstein. The second half of Frankenstein is told from the perspective of the creature, and I'm not exaggerating when I tell you that I spent the entire second half of this movie sobbing. Sobbing. Not cute single tear crying, not misting, sobbing, praying that the suffering would end. When the movie was over, I had to immediately get up and leave the theater because I was near hysterical and I didn't want anyone to see me. I could not form coherent sentences until I got home and calmed down a little. The second half of this movie is just suffering and more suffering, loneliness on top of loneliness, attempt after attempt to make friends and be acceptable, only to be chased away and rejected. And he has little mouse friends. He makes friends with sweet little mice. Was Guillermo trying to kill me? I'm going to start crying again. Del Toro isn't only trying to kill me. He is masterfully demonstrating what it's really like to be raised by a narcissist. What I was feeling in the theater, desperation, emptiness, a broken heart, unbearable longing, crippling sadness, is what we in the feelings biz call countertransference, meaning that I am picking up on what the creature is feeling too. The creature has no sense of self or self with other, meaning that he has to deliberately take time to observe how humans and groups of humans, like the family with the sweet angel elderly gentleman that he observes. He watches how they interact with each other because he has no sense of himself in relationship to the world around him, or any sense of human interaction beyond cruelty. He only knows the pain and shame that Victor projected onto him, and it is both so heartbreaking and heartening to watch him try and find love in the world, only to be continuously rejected because of his appearance. Can we get some justice for monsters? Like, it's not his fault that he's so huge and his face is comprised of, like, the faces of 5 other people. We have to combat monster prejudice. Even though the creature is a sizable dude, he carries himself like he is so small. This is common for those who have been raised or have been in relationships with narcissists, who have made everything about themselves and have bulldozed the other person completely. Being in a relationship with a narcissist can make you feel like you just don't matter and like you'll never measure up. And it can take years to untangle the narcissist's feelings of projected shame from your own inherent sense of self. But, like separating the pumpkin seeds from the pumpkin guts on Halloween, it can be done. It will take some time, but it can be done, and then you can bake them, and they're a delicious snack. The creature has grown up with a narcissist for a father. Victor has projected all his shame and self-loathing onto the creature, effectively eroding his sense of self. So I ask you, why does the creature not become a narcissist himself? Well, could it have to do with the leaf? With Elizabeth and her leaf?
A leaf? For me? Thank you.
Guillermo is at it again, obliterating my heart into 1,000 pieces with the scene where Elizabeth shows the creature some kind of love and kindness, and in return he offers her a leaf from the cold ground of the basement he is chained up in. How am I supposed to continue this podcast? This leaf? I will continue for your benefit because this is important. I need to tell you about corrective emotional experiences, and that is what Elizabeth provides for the creature. His father, aka Victor, was unable to love him because he's evil. So when Elizabeth sees the creature as someone worthy of love, care, and consideration, and shares such a sweet, sensitive connection with him, it provides the creature with another template for how humans are in the world. It gives him a taste of the thing he always wanted, love, and it makes him feel warmer and more alive than he has ever felt in his short little reassembled life. And now that he knows what that feels like, and that it is so much better than shame and cruelty, he wants to go out into the world and find more. And that's what he does. A single person can make such a difference in breaking the cycle of narcissistic abuse. Elizabeth was able to reach the creature and enter that vulnerable garden that we all have. She reached him early before any barbed wire fencing went up and tended to the garden. He didn't need to put those walls up. This connection meant so much to Elizabeth, who, on her wedding day, takes out the leaf that he gave her and remembers this sweet soul who she low-key has a crush on. I mean, can you blame her? The relationship that the creature shares with the sweet angel elderly gentleman is another example of the love that the creature experiences in his quest for it once he is free from the basement of Victor's shame. If the leaf scene broke my heart into 1,000 pieces, the old man dying and the creature being violently chased away scene then took a sledgehammer to the shattered pieces of my heart, pulverizing them to dust. And again, this is probably how the creature felt. But he did feel love. He did. That's why losing it hurts so much. And that's how he knows it exists out there in the world. Okay, I'm going to take a short break to cry now. A card that I would choose to represent Frankenstein is the Tower. It's kind of perfect for Frankenstein, right? Because of the lightning and the electricity and the tower, but also because it showcases the destruction that narcissism causes. It shows not only the internal landscape of the person suffering from extreme levels of narcissism, but it shows what it's like to be in that person's orbit. In this card, everything is about Victor. It's like if he's in a bad mood, you have to be in a bad mood too. There is no delineation between what the narcissist feels and what you feel, because your feelings do not matter. Victor's narcissism and hold over everyone is total, and it's so destructive. But the people jumping off aren't going down with the ship. They recognize that something is wrong and that they need to separate themselves from this person, which is common for people in relationships with narcissistic personalities. They may not completely understand or have a sense of what is going on at the outset, but they do have a sense of something that just doesn't feel quite right, or this feeling of like, I'm just not safe around this person. They're like, I might break my legs in this fall from this tower, but I'll be damned if I'm not going out there in the world to find another way. This is illustrative of the creature's voyage out into the world to find a better way. He definitely has a hard time out there, and it's not easy, but it's better than staying in a burning building. I think we are kind of living in the age of narcissism. Do I think therapy culture and therapy speak play a role in overly focusing on ourselves? Maybe, but I think it's a combination of things too. The most important parts of therapy actually happen outside the therapy room. Therapy is a place to process, to build understanding, to feel, and to build skills. And then the magic has to be conjured when you leave in your life. If you have a sense that you are overly focused on yourself, or you're just like low-key sick of yourself, or you're noticing that you have a lack of empathy for others, this is actually a really good sign because it shows that you haven't fallen off the spectrum into tower territory. You are aware of yourself. To curb rising narcissism, help others. Listen more than you speak. Put yourself in other people's shoes and don't just look at other people as something you can get something from. That's not what this is about. Do something kind for someone because that's what being human is. That's what Victor got wrong, and that's what made him a monster. As much as I love this movie, I have a lot of mixed feelings about the final scene of it, where Victor apologizes to the creature for his horrible violence towards him. Obviously, my sobbing continued well into this scene, as the creature forgave him, and it felt like they reached some kind of closure, and the creature experienced a modicum of healing. Maybe I'm a pessimist, but scenes like this don't often happen between narcissists and those they have hurt. It can be really hard for narcissists to break down those barbed wire fences that project their fragile vulnerability so that they can actually take accountability for the harm they have caused and understand why. So this scene is particularly cathartic, perhaps for everyone who knows what it's like to feel so deeply hurt and abused by the person who is supposed to love them most. For the creature, I imagine it finally felt like receiving the love from his father that he wanted his whole life, even if it came much too late. Creature, if you're out there, I love you so much. I hope you find happiness and connection and safety, and I have faith that you will. It hasn't been easy for you thus far, that's for sure. But I don't know, man. I'm seeing a dating profile that says, I'm 6'5", sensitive, I love animals, I'm a great listener. My nickname is Spirit of the Forest because I love the outdoors and I help random families in secret, and I'm looking for love. I don't know, man, but I think you'd be a real catch. Try it out. That, my ghouls, is the story of Frankenstein and how it portrays narcissism. This is one of those movies that I found to be so sad that I don't know if I'll ever watch it again. But I also said that about The Shape of Water and watched it again years later. Still crying, but more functional this time. Mental Health is Horrifying is entirely researched, written, edited, and produced by me, Candace Green, registered and spooky psychotherapist. If you like this podcast, please consider rating and reviewing on your preferred listening platform. It really helps the show to reach all the other spooky ghouls out there, and I will be eternally grateful. And an eternity is a very long time for a vampire, okay? If you live in Ontario or Toronto and are interested in psychotherapy with me, I offer both virtual and in-person therapy for final girls who want to make sense out of the guts of their lives. I specialize in grief and trauma and incorporate both tarot and dream work into my practice as tools to delve deeper into fields of psychic terrain. You can follow me on Instagram at Mental Health is Horrifying, and you can also learn more about me and my services through my website, manymoonstherapy.com. Or you can also howl at the moon and I will hear your call. Bright blessings.